epitomised the word champion, not only being an incredible athlete, but exuding warmth wherever she went, and our love and thoughts remain always with her family, friends, and everyone who knew her.
I think a really beautiful gesture there from the IBU and the event organisers, and there'll be a lot of emotions for all of these competitors ahead of their race, including nerves, of course.
So away from the stadium, up at BMW World, the athletes introduced one by one to the crowd who have gathered here. And well, what a way it is to start the race. They'll be introduced, of course, in reverse order, with Jean Richard, followed by Lara Wagner of Austria, making the World Cup team in Oslo at the end of last season. Lotte Lee representing Belgium. Two Belgian representatives in this race, as we had on the men's side of things. Their accuracy, sharp shooting, serving them well in the qualifying stages. Here's Maya Clautens, who impressed with her accuracy, particularly in the second half of last season. And Vidal, the home favourite from this field. Gasparin, the single mixed relay winner. Pokluka towards the end of last season, what a day that was. And a race weekend that was in a hole as well. Anna Gandler, Austrian, one of two Austrians in this women's final field. She had to fight so hard, didn't she, Leah Meyer? But it was great to see all the way to the line. Had her career best finish in the short individual in Kontiolahti, finishing 23rd at the start of last season. Hannah Skottine, some clever movement in her race. And her safely through. What a season it was for Milena Todorova. 2 World Cup podiums. Personal best on the World Cup being in second place finish towards the end of last season. Carolina Bugstad Knotten, 2-time world champion. That was something to prove in this race. We'll line up side by side with Suvi Minkkinen, World Championships bronze medalist after a breakthrough season last time round, and has really catapulted her way into the hearts of so many of the biathlon fans, not just in Finland but around the world. Anna Magnusson, the one-time World Cup winner. Really clever race from her, bided her time in her qualifying and progresses as one of the 4 winners of the heats, as did Lisa Vitozzi, and she did so in spectacular fashion. A big welcome back to the Italian ahead of a home Olympics approaching in the next few months. And side by side with her, Lou Jean-Monod, 4-time relay world champion. A real battle, one of the battles for the ages between her and Franziska Preuss, who unfortunately isn't here to compete on home soil, owing to a hand injury sustained in the last few weeks. Culture, music, a festival that really has the lot. As they come towards the rolling start.
They will be eager to get underway and start really applying the power, and you can see that transition just as they make their way through the starting gates.
So here we go, the women's final, the final race of the day at the inaugural Loop 1 Biathlon Opening Festival. And it is Lou Jean-Monod who leads the way, wearing bib number 1. Tucked in behind her is Lisa Vitozzi. They've gone through the rolling start-finish gates. And maybe just bit of caution as they come into this first bend. No one pushing the pace too significantly at the moment. You can see Carolina Knotten trying to make her way around the outside. She started back in 5th, wearing, of course, bib number 5th, and bib number 5 even, and she's already up to the shoulder of Lou Jean-Monod as this field still feels quite bunched as they make their way around the early stages of this race.
Yeah, I suspect that's going to stretch now after this corner, because I think there's like a common understanding from everybody that there's no need to push the pace too dramatically and then risk anything on a corner like that. But now along the flat, we're actually not seeing too much of an increase of pace. Anybody at the front would be taking the wind. A little bit of a price to pay for that in terms of energy, and it's still nice and casual, but I don't think that's going to last for too long.
No, if the men's race is anything to go by, we could kind of expect something along these lines for the first lap. The first of 5 laps, 1.8 kilometres is the loop. I'm sure you all know it by now, around the Olympic Lake here in Munich. And well, as much as we mentioned the challenges of getting a range set up in a city centre, in a really built-up area, of course, the park here, but right in the centre of it all, the range isn't just in the city centre, it's on the lake as well, which is just incredible and makes for a real spectacle.
How can we make this more novel? Well, let's build a range on a lake.
A floating range, and you can see it there just in the top of your picture, along with those iconic peaks of the Olympic Stadium, rebuilt and of course all refurbished for the 1972 Olympic Games, and ever so fitting that in this Olympic season we kick things off here at somewhere so synonymous with Olympic sport on the track and field. And now, home of the biathlon, as Lou Jean Monod will bring them around these bends here, gradual bends after that tight turn, which we saw some problems earlier on in the race as they come up to the 1 kilometre mark. But everyone in this 15 athlete field through safely.
Really nice slow speed, and I think that we can expect to see, similar to the men, around about half of the field go clear. But despite the fact that it's slow, I mean, I would have expected more of the men to go clear, to be honest, with that intensity. So with this intensity, there should be more than half of the field going 5 out of 5. But then if that is not the case, that would be an indication that nerves are having a big impact on performance.
Well, it was interesting to hear some of the athletes talk about their nerves through the qualifying stages. Suvi Minkinen mentioned it after her post-race interview, saying that she did have a little bit of nerves around her and she didn't know sort of how this was going to pan out. So as much as the likes of Lou Jean Monod, who's at the front of this field, said that it's a great opportunity to try things with a little less stress, some of the athletes have been taking on a bit of the pressure, but Scott, you have to say that's not necessarily a bad thing going into the World Cup, which starts next month. No,
standing shoulder to your biggest competitors come the season, and almost getting the measure of them. How are they performing? How are they doing under pressure? How are they handling each and every moment as they are by their side is going to really weigh into their, I would say, their expectations for the winter and the race season to come. So here we go, the first of 4 shooting stages, as with the men. 2 prone shoots to kick things off, followed by the 2 standing, nothing between on the top 3, and then Anna Magnusson 1.3 seconds down, but it is a long train of athletes who now drop down into the prone position. Lisa Vitozzi quickly into that position. Who will take the first shot? It will be Anna Weidel of Germany. She's already 2, and they're 2 clean shots as well. Richard starts with a miss. Vitozzi has 2 down. That's 3. Weidel is absolutely flying, and she's 5 for 5, and the German will be away clean. Lisa Vitozzi will join her. She's gone clean. Anna Magnusson has missed on the last. Anna Ganler was clean. Both the Belgian representatives in continuing their good shooting form, particularly in the prone position, have gone 5 for 5 and are away as well. So let's take a look as they make their way up this short, sharp climb. There's been a collision in the penalty loop. 2 athletes going down. Lisa Vitozzi is first across the line at the top of the climb, going out of shooting 1. She leads by 1.1 second ahead of Anna Weidel, and Ganler flying through as well. Yeah, that's not good. It's very congested. Lots of people turning right there and going on to the penalty loop, which, as you say, caused a bit of a clash. So hopefully everyone involved in that is okay. But it is the athlete coming off the penalty loop who has the right of way. And so in the manner that she did in her qualifying, Lisa Vitozzi clean in her first shoot, and now
She will try and push the pace. It was such a dominant victory in her race. It was the biggest margin of victory that we've seen through the course of the day so far. And there's a look back at that collision.
Wow. Yeah, I didn't see the bib number, but not good, and that certainly would not have been comfortable. It looked as though the athlete coming off the penalty loop intended to go up the hill. I don't think they were going round again, in which case you could be looking at disqualification if that is the case.
Well, I believe it was Carolina Knotten, the athlete who went down. The Norwegian finds herself 18.2 seconds off the pace. As we go back to the front of the field, and Lisa Vitozzi with Anna Weidel in behind her.
And interestingly, only 1/3 of the field managing to get all of the targets down, so even less than half, and that is despite going very slow. It's a really fantastic representation of how much the psychology comes into play on the shooting range. It was a slow pace coming in, and yet more than half went on the penalty loop.
So here is the chase pack that we can see. A long string of athletes led by Hannah Gandler. And you can see, even though we had, of course, 3 athletes outside the 2 have broken away who went clean in shooting 1, they've been joined by those who missed 1, including Suvi Minkkinen up there, Lujon Minot, Todorova, of course, as well. And it can all change ever so quickly, but if the qualifying that Lisa Vitozzi won by such a big margin is anything to go by, those in the chase pack won't want to leave her out there, out front for too long at all.
Well, look at this chasing group. They're all huddled very closely, and that's going to really benefit those who are toward the back end of that in terms of the slipstream. Knotten trying to reconnect after her collision, as you said.
Well, the support has been incredible as we go back to the front with Lisa Vitozzi, and Scott, we've seen it building and building through the day.
Yeah, absolutely, and it's so many people coming out to watch this event, so much excitement, and you can really hear the enjoyment from the crowd, particularly as the shots go down from the German biathletes. But you know, with biathlon fans, they love biathlon and they love all biathletes. Of course, there is a particular affiliation to those from the nation you are from also, but most biathletes have favourites outside of their own nation who they will cheer for and support.
So onto the purple carpet once again, Lisa Vitozzi, and you'll hear the roar as she makes her way round into the stadium, packed full, 9,500 in this area in front of the range, and it is great to see, isn't it, as they come in. And there is a German, the only German representative in this final for the women, Anna Weidel, who is side by side with the 23-24 total score winner, Lisa Vitozzi. On her return, she's impressed so far. Can she keep it up?
Both of the first shots go down for our leaders. The second one to follow in quick succession. Great accurate shooting from the 2 in the lead. 4 for 4. And they both go clear. 5 out of 5. And beautiful shooting. And looking further down the field, Jean Minot, she's coming back for 3 for 3. Make that 4 out of 4 for Jean Minot. She goes clear. And it's great shooting also from Lotte Lee and Anna Gandler.
Well, excellent, wasn't it, when you look at some of the results there, and the Belgians keep up their excellent shooting so far. Maya Klotten going 5 for 5 as well. Something that really set them apart from the other nations, just how, as a unit, how accurate they were, the Belgians, last season. And here are, you can see on your screen, the results as they come out of shooting 2 of 4 and make their way around the third lap. Suvi Minkkinen, 24 seconds down, missed 2. Skottheim and Magnussen also missing 2, but within 30 seconds of the lead.
Vitozzi really demonstrating that control and that discipline that she showed through so many of the races throughout her career. But in this particular moment, and in the races leading up to it, the heat, She has demonstrated complete discipline and complete control. Excellent so far.
She has been marked all the way so far by Anna Weidel. And is glued to the back of her once again, the 29-year-old. Made teams for 3 Junior World Championships. 11th on the IBU Cup total score last season. Here's the shooting of Lou Jean-Monod, and that first one almost going astray, Scott.
Yeah, it's those edge shots, you might call it lucky when it's just on the edge of the white, and it could go either way, but most often than not, it's on the inside of the threshold. And that's as a result of just all of the variables that come together in shooting, the sight picture, the breathing, the trigger pressure. That's a result of so many of those factors being perfect that when there is a poor aim, still the chances are that it's going to fall inside the threshold for some of these top athletes.
Two-time world champion Lisa Vitozzi leading the way. Here is the chase group. Lou Jean-Monod wearing bib number 1, fighting her way back into this.
She appears totally willing to take the lead, to take all of the wind at the front, although that said, the camera here is going to be having some effect on that, but nevertheless, she is charging, trying to close the gap, and rightly so.
So keep your eyes on the time here, because the gap when they left shooting 2 was 14.6 seconds back to from Lou Jean-Monod back to Lisa Vitozzi. Now, one of the big winners from that last lap is Anna Weidel, has gone to just 0.4 of a second behind Lisa Vitozzi. Has the time changed? Lou Jean-Monod, well, big winner there, dragging the chase pack ground to now just outside 10 seconds behind the leader.
We've got some fantastic skiing also from the likes of Magnussen and Skottheim, both of them marking the fastest course time on the second loop, indicating they are in fantastic form, and with a bit more accuracy on the shooting range could climb up the order.
So the leading 2 coming towards the purple carpet and the range once again, and you can see that gap just keeps getting smaller and smaller as Lou Jean-Monod, having just missed 1, is on the charge and has really stabilised her race. What can she do as they come into the range for the first of 2 standing shoots? It's Lisa Vitozzi who leads Anna Weidel, who will have, of course, the roar of support from the home crowd, who are delighted to see a German contending right at the top, and very much well in the mix here.
The Germans, they train for this. The sound effects of the crowd are often playing during their training sessions, where they try and simulate these pressures, these psychological dynamics. So there's no shock to the system as 10,000 people scream when you hit the target. Vitozzi goes first 2 shots down with ease, the third goes down, and it's so fast until the final shot, which is thrown wide. A low right miss for Lisa Vitozzi.
1 miss for Anna Weidel as well. Lou Jean-Monod has a miss too, and Ganler has 2. Things all shaking up in the chase pack. Todorova will just be once around the loop. It's the first miss of the day for Lotte Lee. Skottheim goes clean, 5 for 5. Can Anna Magnussen do the same? She does. Maja Plottens keeps her perfect record. 15 out of 15 so far.
Wow, what a comeback from the Swedes, both going clear and are going to be getting themselves up towards the sharp end of the field. But Lisa Vitozzi managing to get out despite her miss with a fantastic time, 10 seconds ahead of Weidel of Germany.
Well, she's coming into this in great form, isn't she, Lisa Vitozzi?
Yeah, absolutely, and it's such a hard race, even though there aren't the giant hills. With every giant hill, there are giant recovery opportunities in World Cup racing. But these flat terrains are just continuous bombardment to the body, and they make it very difficult. But we did see Vitozzi there getting faster and faster with every shot, and it does make me wonder if her invincibility cloak suddenly started to waver there towards the end, and perhaps discipline cracking ever so slightly for the final shot.
Well, when you look at the difference coming out of the range at shooting 2, she was 2.5 seconds ahead of Anna Weidel. There was nothing to separate them on the shooting stage before, of course, as well. And now on shooting, coming out of shooting 3, she has almost a 10-second advantage. And this, Scott, well, this is where she needs to push on and ensure that she can create a gap that even if she does drop one on the final stage, she can still get out ahead of those chasing.
Yeah, that's right. And only 15 seconds or 15 seconds thereabouts is what it takes to get around the penalty loop. But there's a lot of difference in terms of how long it takes for people to shoot all 5 targets. For example, in the shooting number 3, Lotte Lee took 28 seconds to shoot all 5, whereas Lisa Vitozzi only took 19.2 seconds. That's a gap or a difference of 9 seconds.
And then when you factor that in, it is so clear how Lisa Vitozzi got round, of course, then the around 60 metre, approximately 60 metre penalty loop and off back out to the course with the lead that she has. Although with those chasing, who we can see now, Skottheim leading the way. The Swede, who was perfect in that last stage, dragging those behind her. The role of Lou Jean Monod that she played in the last lap. She's now a little bit further back.
It's not an easy game to play when you're leading a group of such fast athletes like Lou Jean Monod and Anna Magnusson to stay up the front and take the wind. You really want to step aside and let them go in front so you can benefit from the slipstream advantage. But Skottheim, quite controlled, quite composed, but you can see the pain on her face.
And it is almost identical, just 0.1 of a second, the difference between when they left the range and when they went through 6.4 kilometres, and that is in advantage of Lisa Vitozzi. So she hasn't lost any ground. She's having to do all the work by herself, but she is very hardened character mentally. And the last year of struggles with her health, with her fitness, the injury struggles, well, that will only add to the mental resilience that she's accrued over the course of her career so far. And that, when you're out front all by yourself, really comes into play.
Yeah, it certainly does, and it must be hard to go for so long without a competition, then to come back and suddenly find yourself at the front of the field with such a gap. But it does look like she is composed. I did mention that on her final shot, it's almost as if she was too eager to release the shot. And I do wonder if on this time she will be a little bit more composed with a more consistent time between each shot.
So here we go into the range for one final time. Lisa Vitozzi, she's well and truly back. Can she cement all the hard work she's done today, all the hard work she's done over the last 12 months with a victory at the inaugural Loop 1 Festival? She lifts her rifle to her right. The trailing pack come in behind. There's the miss, but it's only one. And it's just one miss for Lisa Vitozzi.
And
she sprints off round the penalty loop.
Skottheim, Jean Monod, Weidel, they have to shoot fast and they have to shoot clear if they want a chance. But it looks like Vitozzi's getting away as Jean Monod misses 2 targets from 5. Skottheim taking her time, gets 4 out of 4, and the 5th goes down. Weidel also with 5 for 5, Magnusson 5 for 5, Minkkinen 5 for 5, and all of a sudden we have a ski race on our hands.
We do. But will it just be for the podium places? Because Lisa Vitozzi has a 10-second advantage on Skottheim as they come out of the range, but the battle is there for the medals behind. And the German crowd will be loud in support of Anna Weidel, who has been so impressive today, Scott. 19 out of 20, you cannot ask for more, really.
No, it's fantastic shooting from Weidel, and something that we can expect looking at her statistics from the season. It's a 90% hit rate in pro, 91 overall, that's including stand. So she is a fantastic, accurate shooter, but it's the ski speed that has dropped her back ever so slightly in this race so far.
Here is the target of Skottheim. Here is chasing here. Lisa Vitozzi. Anna Scottheim wearing bib number 7. She rounds the corner. She has her teammate and winner of one of the heats earlier on today, Hannah Magnusson, just behind her. And we know Hannah Magnusson can muster up the pace in the final lap as they make their way around the lake here in the Olympic Park once again. Lisa Vitozzi leaving with a 10-second advantage. But on the charges, Johannes Scottheim, his Vidal's target from that final shooting stage.
2 of those targets would have gone into the prone ring, and that's the level of accuracy from these top-level biathletes. Able to shoot a much smaller target and still hit. It's quite incredible.
Made 2 World Cup teams last season, Anna Vidal. And good performance here today will certainly go in her favour in terms of selection.
You can see the separation between these athletes now. It's so hard to claw back meters, but as the fatigue sets in towards the end of this race, it's just an opportunity to claw back really those psychological meters where you think, actually, the tide is turning, I can close the gap. And it's horrible being chased, knowing that the person behind you really wants to catch you and get past you, and you're both hurting.
So Lisa Vitozzi up to the 8.2 kilometre mark, and through she goes. Eyes now on the clock. Scottheim, well, she's fighting, and she's working really hard to hold off her compatriot. She's closed the gap on Vitozzi. It's down to 7.4 seconds.
Wow.
It'll be really hard to take more time off Vitozzi now. Surely this is Vitozzi's race. Anna Magnusson, though, is not far behind, just 2 seconds behind her compatriot Scottheim.
Yeah, it's certainly all to play for second and third, but you can see this means a lot to Scottheim. Always been on the fringes of the selection on World Cup. She does make it, but it's never an easy battle. The Swedish team is hard to make it onto, but look at this. Magnusson wants to close that gap, and Scottheim is saying no, not today.
So a battle between the Swedes for the colour of the medal, but it will only be between silver and bronze, because out front and well out front is Lisa Vitozzi. Our focus on the battle behind, and it is Scottheim, who just leads it. Anna Magnusson is throwing everything at the closing stages of this race, but she is so impressive, and she's well and truly back. The stadium here in Munich will rise to its feet and welcome home the champion, Lisa Vitozzi. That's how you mark your return. That is how you do it in the inaugural Luke One Festival. Here's the battle for behind, and it has been won by Anna Scottheim, who raises that fist. She had to work hard in the closing stages. She had her compatriot, her teammate on her shoulder, fighting from behind. And it won't be a medal today, but it's an excellent performance from Anna Vidal, the highest ranked German, the only German female to make this final, and a big result for her. Suvi Minkkinen over the line in 5th. Jean Richard, well, she had to fight back from deep down the order.
Richard having an adjusted time there. I wonder if that plays on earlier's the collision that we saw. I'm not too sure exactly how that's being adjudicated, but hopefully that information will come to us soon. But you can see a 2-minute penalty being added onto Richard's time.
And so we see the rest of the 15 athletes make their way across the line, and of course, as Scott said there, 2 minutes, the penalty added to Jean Richard, and we'll bring you information on that as and when we can. But, well, everyone in this field, everyone in the stadium will be delighted for Lisa Vitozzi. She has had to work so hard, had to work hard alone over the course of the last 12 months to get back to this position. Across the line is Maja Claessens. We just have Laura Wagner out on the course. Of course, everyone will wait in the stands and welcome her home. But a brilliant battle over the course of 5 laps. But much more than 5 laps, of course, Scott, because a lot of the work that Lisa Vitozzi did to lay down a statement in the heats has paid off, and another immaculate performance from the woman who is well and truly back.
What a day for Sweden as well as for Lisa Vitozzi on a personal level. But what good connotations for a home upcoming Olympic Games for Vitozzi. I know these races are on a very different terrain and on roller skis as well, but it's must give her a little bit of a boost ahead of the season, as it will all of these biathletes, getting to race against your competitors before it gets serious, before the snow is on the feet, or the skis are on the feet. There's a bit of a bloody chin there, unfortunately, from Lara Wagner.
Yeah, significant graze. I'd say even probably more than a graze there, a cut to the chin of Lara Wagner. Of course, we didn't see the incident that led to that, but we are certain, of course, that she'll now go off and get the treatment that she requires. And, of course, great to see her welcomed back in true fashion of biathlon with a standing ovation from the crowd here in Munich. Have been well and truly treated today. 9,500 packed into that stand behind the range, and here is the confirmation of the final results. Lisa Vitozzi, welcome back. It is a delight to have you here at the Loop 1 Biathlon Opening Festival. Well and truly delivering, and as Scott said as well, great performance for the two Swedish athletes, Jonas Gottheim and Anna Magnusson. Brilliant battle from them in the closing.